And the Islanders lineup that they rolled out there was Heineman, Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal back to the wing for Barzal, Drouin, Ritchie, Palmieri, Lee, Peugeot, Holmstrom, and McLean, Cizikas, Duclair on the fourth line.
Yeah. And the big move is putting Matthew Barzal on the wing. They had him play center the other day against Washington for most of the game. It didn't go, it was fine. But it really kind of popped off when Patty put him back with Bo Horvat, and it just went off. It looked so much better. As one of the people that were in on the YouTube channel saying, it just looked natural to have them there. They just fit together. And today, 70% Corsi for together, 24 shots to 10, 55.5% expected goals for. Like they're so good together when they're out there, and it's just working, man. Let them gel. There was that one opportunity. I forget if it was in the first. It probably was, where they work a triangle like around the goal, right? And it's Barzal to Bo Horvat, I believe, below the goal line to Emil Heineman at the top. And he just he catches it too late. The movement is too quick for Emil Heineman to keep up, to stay straight to it, that he doesn't have the right angle to get it where he needs to go far side. But if he's adapted to those type of movements, that's a goal. And that's pure chemistry that needs to be worked out by having these guys together more often.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Right. Like, and I really like having the chemistry that was already built in you had with Barzal and Horvat. They worked on that for a little bit, but I've liked Emil Heineman a ton with Bo Horvat. And I think the three of those guys together can really work, because Emil Heineman has the speed, but he's also shown off his shot a ton already. And I was a little bit, I don't know if I want to say worried, but I just had a thought, like, would they keep Jonathan Drouin with Bo Horvat? Because that's another guy who's been played on his wing that's played well. But I don't think that would have made as much sense with Barzal and Drouin on the same line. I think Heineman offers you more to what Barzal is going to do, right? Because now you have Barzal who's skating around and making plays, and effectively two guys who could finish. Bo Horvat, who's done it tremendously, and Emil Heineman, who feels like an ascending player for the Islanders. Yeah,
it's basically like they did with Anders Lee, right? Like two guys who can score goals, different type of players, where Anders Lee isn't much of a rush player, where Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal are. Emil Heineman absolutely is, with the speed that he brings. That's not something Anders Lee does, which is not shitting on Anders Lee in any way, shape, or form. He's been absolutely fan-friggin-tastic this year. That third line is lights out, primarily because of Lee and then Jean-Gabriel. But either way, you're right. That element of Emil Heineman, you can't have Matthew Barzal and Jonathan Drouin together. You have to put Emil Heineman there, or someone who's going to shoot, and that happens to be what Emil Heineman does. Just we've said it before that Drouin and Barzal are too, I don't know if complementary is the right word, but
too similar.
Redundant. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Great.
They bring the same thing to the table, virtually, not exactly, but kind of. They're playmakers. They're shoot second kind of guys. So it makes sense to put Drouin with Ritchie and Palmieri. I don't know. I think that's going to be the detriment to Jonathan Drouin's like really good scoring to begin the year. But whatever, man. At some point, it's gonna pop off, because I feel like Drouin's been absolutely fantastic for the Islanders. He's done very, very well in every aspect of the game that they've asked him to play. And the production is going to get there at some point. Will it be point per game as I kind of predicted at the beginning of the year? Probably not, but it was a hot take to begin with.
No, it was a hot take, but that's fine. I like that we do hot takes for this.
Yeah. But like, so because you bring in Callum Ritchie to play that second line center, it allows you to put Matthew Barzal there, and allows you to rejig a little bit, some of the other lines, like specifically the fourth line, where you put Duke down there with Cizikas and then McLean instead of like Tsiplikov, which they were fine, but they weren't anything special, right?
No, definitely not.
Like that fourth line still needs to be figured out.
Yeah, no, it does. I don't think it feels like, and I hate to keep beating up on him, but it feels like Casey Cizikas is an anchor on that line.
Yeah, I feel like he is too. To be fair to Zeker, he's playing with, at least with Duke, a guy who doesn't belong on the fourth line. That's just not where he's supposed to be. That's not the kind of game he plays. So you're getting a guy in Kyle McLean who's, borderline NHLer, which is fine. So, skill isn't maybe there. and a guy who is trying to figure out his game at that in that position, and that's kind of putting him in a weird spot where he's not, as you said, very good himself right now throughout the entire year, and he's at the end of his career. So you're having three guys kind of struggle in three different ways together, trying to figure out, and it's just not working.
Yeah, it isn't working, and I don't know how they really go about fixing that in the short term. Do you have any ideas? Because I genuinely I don't know. I don't know what the button they push is.
I don't know either. Like, obviously you can put Shabanov there, but is he going to be any better? Like, he's not going to play fourth line properly. He's not a fourth line player. He never has been. Ideally, Tsiplikov goes there, but he hasn't been playing well at all. Looks like he's skating with cement blocks. So who's out there? They still have Kefler, but that's because he's injured. So they still have him on the roster there. But there isn't really anyone that they can just kind of like, okay, we'll take him off of IR or take him off of the scratch pad and put him in. There isn't that kind of player here.
No.
Sadly.
No, it doesn't feel that way.
Unless they dip into the AHL, but there isn't really anyone kind of. Maybe Joey Larson. Joey Larson's been playing pretty well for the Bridgeport Islanders. He scored today. I think he even scored the game winner. Oh no, he might have scored the opening goal. I think it's Hyman who scored the game winner.
Okay.
Yeah, Joey Larson scored the game opening goal, his third goal of the season for Joey Larson. And he's got 5 points in 9 games there. Like, he's doing well. Maybe that's someone you can bring up. He signed to an NHL contract. The other ones like Foudy, Gauthier have been completely absent. That's about it, man. That's about it. So there isn't really anyone that's dying for a call up. Ken Burke Cameron Burke would be good, but he's not signed to an NHL contract right now, so you can't really do that.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a great answer, unfortunately.
There isn't. Like, if Gleb or Veremiev was ready, maybe that'd be dope, but I don't think he's ready right now, because that's a center, and he's got size, is he not? He's 6'4", 205. Like, that's a big kid.
It is a big kid, and that theoretically would make sense in a checking role, wouldn't it?
It very much would. If maybe if he's ready. I haven't seen him play very much because I've been focusing on other players whenever I watch Bridgeport, which hasn't been a ton because they haven't played a ton of games anyways. But if he's ready, maybe that's the guy. But we're throwing dice at this point, right? We were throwing dice to like make up for guys who are signed to, Tsiplikov has a $5 million contract, $4 million?
No.
To $4.5 million contract, 2.25 per year.
Is a 2.25 for a year? Okay,
yeah,
that makes more sense,
right? So
I thought you were talking AAV. I got scared for a second.
Could you imagine?
So I'm usually pretty good with these AAVs. I didn't think it was that high.
Yeah, no. So like 2.25 AAV for Tsiplikov, which is double what Heineman is making, by the way. Lols. Although Heineman is only 23 years old. Which is another thing. He's only 23, Heineman.
Right. So, which is why I use the word ascending before when talking about Emil Heineman, because I don't think he's done developing yet.
No, I didn't realize he was that young. I thought he was a little bit older than that. He will turn 24 in a couple of weeks. Still. Yeah,
but still, like, this is a guy who you're going to have in his mid-20s that, we'll see where he finishes this year, but he's got 7 points and 5 goals in the first 12 games of the year.
He's on pace for like 50 points. Like, what are we complaining about, right?
Right. If he gives you 20 plus goals and 50 plus points playing with, Barzal and Horvat, and those two guys are, for 70, 80 plus point players, then there you go. You got a competent top 6 line.
Yeah. That's amazing that you got in as a toss in for Johnson.
Well, they wanted him badly, and I guess we see why.